is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations. The in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave, here's Jason Walker.
Yo, happy Thursday. Jason Walker Show. You know, every day we do on this day in history, and this is going to be yesterday and today, especially today, one of those days we will always remember. Jason Walker Show inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, presented by Helena Accommodations. Check them out at HelenaAccommodations.com. All right, we got a huge lineup today. We are going to talk to NAIA President Jim Carr. We're going to talk to Rochelle Sayers, Carroll College basketball coach, Lindsay Woolley, women's basketball coach at UM Western, Nick McCarville, former Capital Bruin tennis star, now doing great work with tennis and figure skating reporting. He will join us coming up. Of course, all the news coming out today that literally sports as we know it have come to an end. And there's no other way to say it. Like I said, we're going to remember this day in history. It's like, and I'm not saying this lightly, it's like 9/11. It's just one of those days we'll never forget. For obviously different reasons, but I don't want you freaking out about that. Jason compared today to, no, I didn't. So, NAI canceling everything. NCAA canceling everything from today through the end of spring sports. Colleges and universities, kids are being told to go home, stay home if they're on spring break. They're going to do online classes, and Montana University system is going to go online only, I think starting Monday or the week after. The Big Sky Conference, like everything is canceled. There's nothing, okay? Major League Baseball, suspended. NHL season, suspended. NBA season, suspended. MLS season, suspended. One of the few things still going on, MHSA is still playing their basketball tournaments in 4 cities across the state of Montana. From Missoula to Butte to Bozeman to Billings, MHSA said, hey, there's no cases in Montana. Or is there? Or is there? I went to bed last night, and more on that in a second, by the way. Not me in bed. Well, unless you want to hear it. But I was, 10, 11 o'clock at night, was told that Providence Healthcare wasn't going to allow Providence men and women or Providence hockey teams. This was last night before anything got canceled. They weren't going to allow to go to national tournaments. It's a moot point now, but think about that. We're going to ask Jim Carr, the president of the NAI, about that here in a second when he joins us. But you're going to remember this day. And it's weird because I talked to a guy, I dropped some stuff off at Goodwill or Salvation Army, one of the two, about 4 or 5 years ago. And the guy at the door that took the donation said, he asked what I did, and I told him. He goes, sports as we know it will not exist the way we know it in 5 to 10 years. And I'm like, you're full of it. But what are we going to watch for the next 2 months? There's nothing. It is absolutely stunning, the developments from today and yesterday. This is the fastest 36 plus hours that I've ever seen in my life. It is amazing how fast these last 2 days have gone. From Rudy Gobert testing positive to the entire sports world shutting down. Unbelievable. And I go back to my point that Montana High School Association is allowing the tournaments, the state AA in Bozeman, the state A in Billings, B in Butte, C in Missoula, boys and girls combined, both, all 8 tournaments, to go on as if nothing happened. Now, I understand that there hasn't been a confirmed case in Montana. What if a family member, let's say from, Washington, from the Seattle area, has come to watch a nephew, a niece, a granddaughter, whatever, come to watch a family member play at a basketball tournament. And MHSA took that chance and said, I'm working on getting confirmation of a confirmed case of coronavirus in the state of Montana. Working on that confirmation as we speak. But Billings, no national tournament next week. Kansas City, the city of Kansas City is on a state of emergency lockdown, basically. Big Sky Conference in the middle of it. I mean, the one game left for the women tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the championship, gone. Bobcat men and Grizz men didn't even get a chance to play today in the quarters. And I think they're making the right call. Do I think we're overreacting? Yes. Would I have rather MHSA canceled the state tournaments? Yes. And here's why. Because from 10 years from now, do you want to look back on this day in history, March the 12th, 2020, and say, man, the United States really overreacted? Or do you want to look back on this day in history and go, man, what did we do wrong? That's my question. I think it's an overreaction. Exactly. Rather be safe than sorry. If you're watching on Facebook, we can read comments. Podbean, Network One Sports, Twitter, YouTube. You can get a hold of us a multitude of ways. Give me your thoughts on the last 2 days in the world of sports. Yes, you'd rather be safe than sorry. And I understand there's a lot of great basketball that's going to be missed. I get that. But again, do you want to be, for instance, MHSA not canceling tournaments, and God forbid somebody in Butte, Bozeman, Missoula, or Billings gets sick with coronavirus because somebody brought it in? Do you want to be that organization or that person? It's a logical question to ask. Okay. I don't understand it. Why MHSA is still allowing basketball to happen. Rochelle Sayers issued a statement. We were going to have her on. Issued a statement that said something that I can't find it now. Basically, she said that it's a bummer for those, especially those seniors that, you look at just at Carroll College, and there's seniors all over. I get this. Emerald Toth, Taylor Salone, and Dane Warp. They're not going to get a chance to walk off the court a final time. It's just it's sad. But we knew this was going to be happening. Once the NCAA started doing stuff yesterday, the NAIA was going to do it. And speaking of the NAIA canceling its tournaments, let's get right to our first guest. Joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, he is the president of the NAIA. Not an easy job to have the last few weeks. His name's Jim Carr, and he joins us now on the Jason Walker Show. All right, so obviously things changed rapidly overnight, and the decision by the NAIA to this morning cancel all winter activities, including the two NAIA Division I tournaments for next week, the current D2 tournaments going on this week. Take me through the process.
Yeah, so we were in a process much like our counterparts at the NCAA or in conference events and the NJCAA, and we were in discussions with all of them, and also trying to take advantage of the best information we had from various health sources. I mean, obviously, we can get information from the World Health Organization and the CDC. Those are not folks that we have access to talk on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So just trying to gauge all of those, and then really relying on health experts in the locations where our events were around the country. And so as we've been doing that over the last several weeks, our intention was to proceed through our winter championships as usual, to the extent that we could with fans and have those play out. And it looked like for a while that was certainly possible and in some cases probable. And then as the coronavirus started to spread more throughout the United States, and cases were popping up here and there, we still felt like we were in pretty good position and we had some, we had swimming and diving and indoor track and field that we got through those. And then as the next round started with men's and women's basketball, we were also scheduled to have cheer and dance and women's wrestling this weekend. We started to hear things that made us question whether we should allow fans there just for general health and safety. But as of last night, we had the two basketball tournaments underway, and then the other two, pretty much all of our participants were in the locations, but the events in that started. And so, again, in consultation with the various folks that I mentioned, it became general consensus that athletic events should start limiting fans at their events. The NCAA made an announcement. Others were starting to go that direction. So we decided that was best for us as well. We did. Our hope was that since everyone was already at the locations that I mentioned that were either underway or about to start, our first thought was we could allow those to continue on to their completion. But as South Dakota then had a ban around no more than 150 people at a public gathering, we realized that was likely the way all states were going to go where there was any sign of coronavirus. And so we went to a restriction of fans. And then today, after the NBA canceled their season and others began to move in that direction, we made a decision that we didn't think we were in a position to get through those championships without having to cancel because of state restrictions and other things. And so we decided, for the health and safety of our student athletes and for practical reasons, that we needed to cancel all events. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's kind of the progression that we went through. And it was with a lot of hand-wringing and heart-wrenching. I kept saying, we're also at the same time trying to decide whether to have our annual convention here in town in a few weeks. But that will be sad, I think, when we have to cancel that. But that's not a once-in-a-lifetime thing where people at our schools are saying, man, I missed out on this chance, the once-in-a-lifetime chance to attend the NAIA convention. But for these student athletes, I mean, this is canceling something that they've worked long and hard for, and a dream of theirs to go compete for a national championship. And so it's with heavy heart and sadness that we do that.
NAIA President and CEO Jim Carr, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show. Had you heard from any teams that were coming for Billings or Kansas City that were thinking, we're not going to come, or had you heard of anything like that yet?
Well, I keep sort of putting in the context of some of the events that we already had underway, and the two that you mentioned we're scheduled to start next Wednesday. So at our current events, we had not had any teams who said they weren't going to be there. We did have 3 institutions in our cheer and dance competition that was scheduled to start tomorrow. They indicated that they were going to bring their teams home because those particular schools, they were closing their schools for the semester and just thought they needed to bring those teams home. So that and an indication that we had a few student athletes, I won't name the schools, but a few student athletes at schools where their teams qualified for either the men's or the women's championship to start next week. With those positive cases, we were led to believe they were certainly considering whether to allow their teams to come. And then if things continue to scale up like they are, and as they have been in the last couple of days, we were anticipating that we would hear from some teams saying they just didn't feel it was safe to send their student athletes either to Billings or to Kansas City. But no one had officially told us that.
What's the forecast for the spring? Because I know you have to start looking at that now.
Yeah, it's all over the map right now. You know, we've been, as you might imagine, having meetings here with our staff, and we have one team that's charged with sending out a message to all of our schools and asking them to send into a certain location within our system what their plans are for the spring. We could see, I think we've already seen, I don't have a current number in front of me, but there's probably somewhere between 10 to 20% of our institutions who have announced they're going completely online for the spring semester. And what we don't know and haven't asked them directly to tell us is whether that means they're canceling athletics. For the few that I've talked with, that they are canceling athletics as part of that. So if that number continues to grow, it certainly brings into questions whether we'll have enough schools to hold spring championships. And then, of course, just the question of, are things going to have changed in a way? You know, it's only pretty much less than, right around 2 to 2.5 months away. And so we don't know, is it going to be worse than it is now? Is it going to be better?
Right.
So in terms of running the championship, but then even if we can do that, if a significant number of schools have canceled their spring sports programs, then that would be another factor that would go into that.
Is there any, and I'm sure the answer is no, but is there any thought of maybe just postponing these winter tournaments and then doing them in a couple of months, or is that just not feasible?
You know, that is something I would love to do, but it's really hard to find the path to that for some of the same reasons I just mentioned about our spring championships.
Sure.
So you've been to our tournament here in Kansas City, and I think we've talked before. You've been to the one in Billings, and you've been to other NEI events. It takes months and months of preparation to get those events in place. And so now to ask a host, even if we could do it here in Kansas City potentially, and bring a lot of people into one location, trying to get all those things in place when, at the moment anyway, there's a state of emergency in Kansas City, and no more than 1,000 people can be in any one location. Every indication is that number's going to come down, and so trying to get people mobilized to plan for a big event when that's the backdrop, I think it's going to be tough. Plus, getting our schools to commit to do that. If they, some of those schools that qualified are some of the same schools that have already announced they're suspending their athletics programs. So,
Sure.
What does it do to those schools? So I don't want to say 100% no, but the path is hard to figure out.
Couple final questions for NAI President Jim Carr joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. So this is an especially tough year because it was the last year of the current format in Kansas City and in Billings. Plus, the women's tournament is celebrating, or was, its 40th year on the D1 side. I mean, this is, I don't want to take this lightly, but this isn't a bad year to have this all happen.
Right. It's like just a bunch of things coming together in a really bad way. I've been at the NEI, I think Jason, for 21 years, and I've been a part of this 32-team men's and women's tournament, but the one here in Kansas City is the men's tournament, and it goes back to 1937. Actually, it's 8 teams in 1937 and 32 teams starting in 1938. So we've been 80-plus years with the same format, and so this was going to be the last chance to kind of celebrate that. And, even though I support the decision to move to a different format, we talked about it last year when you were in Kansas City, it's with heavy heart that we do that. And so now to not be able to have that last tournament, and then you think about Billings and the 40th of the women's, plus we're moving out of Billings
Right.
after this year, and so we don't get a chance to thank all the big people out there who put on a great tournament for these last several years. And so you're right. It's a tough confluence of things coming together.
So obviously the answer is probably going to be there's no national champions for 2020 when you look at record books moving forward from here on out. I mean, is there an asterisk to the winter sports seasons and possibly the spring sports seasons as well?
I imagine so. Yeah. I mean, we'll consult with our councils and different things. I can't imagine that our members are going to be comfortable with declaring a national champion based on
Right.
rankings, and would be going back, to football from 25 years ago when they used to do that before they met. Based on NAI, we have a playoff, and
Right.
certainly most other levels. But so I don't know if it's an asterisk, but that's probably kind of the concept that's likely to be there.
This is just a tough deal because, everybody's canceling. And I equate this on a somewhat level to 9/11, where the entire country just shut down for days and weeks. And this is, sports is shutting down now across the country, from the pros to high school tournaments. I mean, this is not something we've ever seen anything like this before. How do
Right.
we move on?
Yeah, for those of us who love sports, it's tough. I mean, all of us in the business work hard during March, but man, we love it because you don't go a day without, if you want to, watching a great basketball game on TV or in person, and so it's a big hole in this country and the fabric of the country, and not to mention NBA. And I think I saw something go across my screen that says the foreseeable future of Major League Baseball has suspended their season.
Yep.
So it's just it just kind of keeps going on and on. It's a different world out there. I mean, it's tough, and my hope is again that maybe this is overblown and that it's not as bad as people think. But at this point, we got to trust the health officials, and they're saying some of the things that worked in Italy and China may work here if we take it really seriously. So we're trying to be a part of that.
Well, I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate the time. And man, I'm gonna miss you in Kansas City and Billings probably as well. But it's a tough decision. And like I told you before we started talking, there's nobody's shoes that I'd rather be in than my own right now. I don't envy you. I don't envy anybody that has to be in the decision-making process right now. And I can't disagree with, and I won't disagree with the decision. It's in the best interest of everyone.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and it's been a long time, but I was in the shoes of student athletes way back when, and I know how disappointed I would have been if I was told either during my event or right before my event it was canceled. That competing for a national championship. So man, I fell off for those folks, but I do feel like we made the right decision, and we try to operate around here. Once we've made the decision, now it's about trying to make the best situation possible given that decision. So we're going to keep moving forward, and our main goal is to help our schools so that they can help their own student athletes. And so we'll continue to try to do that.
He is the NAIA president. His name is Jim Carr, and he joins us on the Jason Walker Show. Appreciate it, sir. And we'll talk down the road about some positive things.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Jim Carr joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, as do all of our guests each and every day here on the Jason Walker Show. So there you have it. It's just, and since I talked to Mr. Carr, the spring seasons have been canceled in the NAIA and NCAA, or NCAA for sure. And it's not just basketball that we're losing here, people. Let's remember this. The NCAA ski championships just down the road in Bozeman canceled today. It just is amazing. It really is. As it keeps, just things keep getting canceled. I don't know what else there is except the Montana High School Association basketball state championships still going on down there in Bozeman and Butte and Missoula and also Billings. Just got this message from Zacchaeus Darko Kelly's mom, Melissa. Quote, I am heartsick for my son and his teammates. There are 3 deserving seniors on the Argos men's basketball team that have never been to the tournament, and the awesome experience is now not a possibility for them. I recognize that Z has been there twice, and he's been so very fortunate. I also know that the health and safety of the student athletes is paramount. I get that the situation is bigger than basketball and a tournament. It is still disappointing, end quote. I couldn't have said that any better, Melissa. It's true. And it's just, I don't know what we do, where we go from here, but we'll try. In fact, when we return here on the Jason Walker Show, we're going to check in. Nick McCarville will still join us. By the way, he'll join us in about 20 minutes and get a national perspective and worldwide perspective. He covers tennis. He covers figure skating. He's a former Capital Bruin tennis player, and it's interesting to get his thoughts. He's in Indian Wells, where there was supposed to be a major tennis tournament. It's his almost Grand Slam, not quite, but that was canceled. So we will talk to Nick coming up. Also, like I said, when we return next, the defending national champion on the women's side, UM Western, will not have a chance now to defend its title. We'll talk to the head coach, Lindsay Woolley, when we return here. Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Jason Walker Show rolling on a Thursday, presented by Helena Accommodations. They just completed their 100th 5-star rating consecutively. That's impressive. Dorme Bene Sleep Well. The extended stay environment is has created terrific referral and repeat business. So much so that Helen Accommodations is looking to expand. If you are a real estate owner and have a terrific property, especially a fourplex, duplex work, single family as well, get a hold of James Yount, 422-6702 at Helen Accommodations, and have a discussion about joining Helen Accommodations as an affiliate extended stay provider. Call James, 422-6702. Dorme bene, sleep well. All right, so we just heard from NAIA President Jim Carr about all the cancellations, and it's so weird to watch my Twitter timeline because you've got on one side, on TweetDeck, all the national stuff that's canceled and updates and this and that. And then follow the hashtag MT scores, and we're still watching scores from MHSA tournaments. So crazy. Well, we know that the NAIA women's tournament will not take place, nor will anything for that matter. But before we get to that, the Cascade Conference, so the NCAA canceled its entire spring sports season. And the GNAC, which is NCAA Division II, canceled baseball season as well. They had to, because the NCAA, the ruling body, did it. The NAIA is not going to be far behind. We do have Cascade Conference announcing the suspension of spring competition until the end of March. That includes softball, men's and women's golf, track and field, baseball as well. So right now on a 2-week hiatus. Task force has been put in place to continue to monitor this situation. This involves Carroll, Providence softball, just to start. Carroll, Providence, Tech, golf, and then all the track and field teams as well. Not just Cascade, but Frontier. So this is the Cascade taking this notice, which involves the Carroll and Providence softball teams. We have not heard yet from the Frontier about its spring sports season, but you have to figure it's not going to happen. But the Frontier in all of its, illustrious glory at times is sometimes behind making things happen. All right, so the NAIA women's tournament will not take place, as we mentioned, in Billings, nor the men's tournament in Kansas City, nor literally anything. And to join us now here on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline to talk about it, the defending national champion coach of the UM Western Bulldog women. His name is Lindsey Woolen. He joins us on the Jason Walker Show. All right, Coach. First question: what's your initial reaction as you found out, about 11 o'clock this morning that there wasn't going to be a tournament?
I think it was a little bit of shock. I mean, I thought, going to bed last night, it felt like it was probably going to happen and go through it. Although, we practiced at 6 this morning, and I visited our kids for practice. Just said, just be ready. Something might happen. We have a conference call at 11, and so when it finally did happen, a little bit of shock, but also some, in my opinion, I think it was the right call. I think it's always the right call when you place your student athletes in the community's welfare ahead of a game.
Absolutely. I think that's the general consensus going on. Real quick, you're at the State C tournament. Are you surprised MHSA is still playing?
I am. I am, especially, with Wyoming, kind of being similar to us in terms of reported cases and all that, deciding to cancel, but then Colorado's going on. So I think obviously it's, the leadership of each, institute, or not institution, each, association to make their decisions. And that's what they've decided to go with.
So as Lindsey Woolley joins us here, the head coach of Western, how bummed, and I mean, it's an easy question, but how bummed are the girls that don't get a chance to defend a national championship from a year ago?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's always the hard part, right? Because your kids work as hard as they do all year to give themselves an opportunity to go out and, in our case, defend a national championship, and everybody else to go out and try to win one. And it's sad. It's heartbreaking. I think that the thing that I think is I struggle with the most, like we have one senior, and for Savannah, she doesn't get that finality, right? Like,
right.
We got beat in the semis conference tournament. You're like, hey, we're going, like we're probably in the national tournament. We'll live to see another day. she doesn't get that finality. And so that's a bit heartbreaking for seniors. And then obviously, you hope that your younger kids can get some experience because that gives them just a little bit extra motivation, as the summer months go to work hard and try to get back there.
Lindsay Woolley, our guest here, Jason Walker Show, head coach of UM Western. Obviously, this is a fluid situation, but have you ever seen anything like the last 36 hours that we've seen from the pros down to high school levels?
I haven't. We were talking about how the state of the union last night talked about how he was suspending flights to the United States, and 40 years on this earth, I've never heard of that. And then you also think about all the things that have happened in your lifetime that were monumental. The Gulf War or 9/11 or Mount St. Helens, all those types of things. Like, this is really the first one that's ever affected me, right? Like, as someone that's in sports, it actually is affecting me. I mean, 9/11 was impactful for sure, but it didn't really affect my day-to-day life.
Right.
And, for me, as someone as a non-military person that lives in Montana, like, we didn't see any changes, right? Like, so I think it's a bit shocking. I think, getting over that shock is definitely something that might take a little bit of time.
I talked to NAIA President Jim Carr, and I asked him earlier today, I said, hey, this is not, I don't want to put this lightly, but this is really not the year that you'd want this to happen, because the final year that the brackets are the way they are, and especially Kansas City, the history down there for the men, but the women with the 40th, tournament, and the last year in Billings. I mean, again, not to take it lightly, but this is not the year for this to happen.
No, it's unfortunate. It's a kind of a celebration of the end of an era, so to speak. And, to not be able to celebrate it and recognize the uniqueness that the NAIA had for, on the women's side, I think it's 40 years, and the men's, I don't even know how long. It's disappointing, but it's, once again, it's a decision that was made, and I think it was made, in the right fashion, and I think it was the right decision.
Let me ask you this, as you're out watching the Class C basketball tournament in Missoula, but is recruiting going to be affected as we move forward? I mean, the NCAA has come out and just a few moments ago and said all spring sports are canceled. And so how does that affect recruiting? And I know NAIA different recruiting than NCAA, but
I think it's going to have an impact. I think especially for us at the NAIA level, like, probably not as much, because we probably do more with video and those types of things. Sure. But we do get out in the summertime and see teams. But at the NCAA Division I level, like, everything is so reliant on AAU now. It's like, now you have to go back and talk to high school coaches, and it'll be kind of interesting to see how that transpires. But it's definitely going to change. I mean, because I would imagine, looking to the April recruiting period is coming up here in like 3 or 4 weeks. Like, I can't imagine they're going to be having those big events.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing spring football games canceled. We're seeing, all the spring stuff canceled. The GNAC canceled its spring sports until further notice. I mean, this is just unprecedented. And again, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. Let me ask you this, as Lindsay Woolley joins us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Are you washing your hands more? Because what did people do before the last couple of months? I mean, I want to think people wash their hands, but everybody's doing it more.
Right? Yeah, I know I'm not, because I'm a pretty, especially probably more so in the winter when we have basketball season. I'm probably washing more than I do in the summer when I'm on a ladder painting houses all day or whatever. But I not for me, but I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of it. And hopefully if it's a habit that continues, because I think it's a good habitat whether we have a virus or not.
You're in the Montana University system down there at UM Western. With the news coming out today that they're going all online courses, how does that affect campus, and how does that affect the town of Dillon?
It'll be interesting, because we're on spring break right now. And I know that our leadership group has been meeting all morning to try to figure out what they're going to do. Because when they made that, I think they said March 23rd. Well, I'm pretty sure that's the Monday, like a week from Monday, when MSU and U of M get done with spring break. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what they were looking towards. But like for us, we're done with spring break on this coming Monday. So I don't know what our campus is going to do, if they're going to, go to it right away, or I would imagine that was kind of the the idea behind that decision. So I think it's going to be different. It's going to be quiet around town, and it's obviously going to be quiet in our building. And for us, it's going to be a little bit different because we start a new block on Monday,
right?
And so it doesn't impact us quite as much. Like in theory, our students at UM Western could just take the block off, and that's a month off, and then come back and do block 8 and move forward if they wanted to.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to miss seeing you in Billings. I was actually looking forward to going down and not working it and just watching basketball, but I guess that'll wait till next year, hopefully, in Sioux City or wherever it's going to be. But congratulations on a successful season. Congratulations on Coach of the Year nod. You did a lot with a very young team that wasn't expected to do a whole lot, and was looking forward to watching you guys defend your championship. But appreciate you joining us, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jason.
That is Lindsay Woolley joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Get a hold of Mike for all of your home and auto insurance needs. All of our guests join us each and every day on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. So there you have it from Lindsay Woolley. The defending champs won't have a chance to defend that national championship from a year ago, the first ever in the Frontier Conference. And you know what? I want you to think about something as we get ready to head to break. Yeah, it's a bummer for us as fans that we're not going to get to watch all this basketball. Think about this, and I brought this up yesterday, and Mark Cuban really did a nice job handling this last night. Think about the hourly workers now with no paychecks. I just saw this on the Twitter. Will Kunkel at Fox 46, I think that's in Kansas, but said, just talked to an NCAA umpire/official who will be losing $31,000 in income due to season cancellations. That's more than half his annual income. Most of these guys are teachers. He no longer has expendable money now for his son's wedding. The trickle-down effect of this is very, very real. Think about it. It is just unbelievable that what we're seeing on this day in the world, especially the United States, in sports. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, this last segment, by the way, brought to you by Ruckers Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Ruckers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. When we return, we'll check in with former Capital Bruins tennis standout and excellent writer, covers the tennis of the pro circuit, covers figure skating as well, Olympics stuff. His name is Nick McCarville, and he joins us next here on The Jason Walker Show.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Ruckers Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Ruckers, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Ruckers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918. Or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back, Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations. The in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. And I know it doesn't feel like it because we got snow last night. Got a lot of snow planned this weekend across the state. But get yourself now on the schedule at Nitro Green for all of your lawn, pest, and tree needs. NitroGreenHelena.com. Give them a call, 443-5088. Because the snow's going to melt next week. It's going to be around this weekend, and then it's going away. Speaking of going away, professional tennis for a while, figure skating for a while, and all the college and all the pros and everything else. And the only thing still going on, Montana High School Association state basketball tournaments. And it blows my mind that they're playing. But started with Indian Wells, and the question now is, will we see the French Open in May? How about Wimbledon? How about the Tokyo Olympics? To join us now and to chat about all that, former Capital Bruin tennis standout and excellent writer. Love reading his stuff. His name is Nick McCarville, and he joins us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. All right, man. So it's been a crazy last 24 to 36 hours. You were supposed to be at Indian Wells. That's not happening. Initial thoughts as you watch all this unfold over the last, like I said, day and a half.
Yeah, well, first off, Jason, thanks for having me. It's been strange when you look at it from a national and international sporting perspective. I think just on Sunday evening, I arrived. I'm actually still in Indian Wells, about to fly out tomorrow. But Sunday evening, they canceled the tournament, and there were a lot of people in Indian Wells already for it. It's one of the biggest tennis events in the world. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of confusion. The players felt like it was a rash decision the night before the tournament. And there's, obviously a huge economic impact in the Palm Springs area. But the last 48, 72 hours has really proven to back up that decision. And you and I were speaking before we press record. We just hope that we're kind of in the midst of something that's going to have a short lifespan in the sense of the sporting world. And obviously there are bigger issues at hand, right? This is about health and safety and making sure that as many people who can stay healthy and safe as possible can. It's just kind of the weird sense that usually when we go through a big international or national moment of reckoning, that sports can kind of be the moment or the thing to pull us all together. And it almost feels like sports is the one that's being impacted in a way, not more than anything else, but as much as everything and everyone else.
Well, and I've likened it to 9/11, and on a much different scale. Don't get me wrong here, but where the entire country just stopped for days and weeks, and that seems like what we're doing on the sporting world. Like you just said, we look to sports as a reprieve. But now we don't have that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different comparisons to make, and I don't think you're wrong. Obviously, on a different scale or in a different way than 9/11. But yeah, it's just a moment where I'm in the tennis world predominantly. We've got 6 weeks now on hold. I also do a lot of figure skating and winter and summer Olympic work. Mm-hmm. Figure skating world championships canceled next week in Montreal. And there's a lot of doubt circling around Tokyo and what's going to happen with the summer games. They're set to start in late July. But again, I think what I said to you at the very beginning, are we in the midst of something, or I hope that we're in the midst of something that has an end in sight, whether that be, Jason, a couple weeks or whether it be a couple months. That's obviously the hope, is that it's not going to be much longer than that. But for now, I think everyone, you just kind of keep calm and carry on and wash your hands as often as possible.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. As Nick McCarville, former Capital Bruin, joins us here on the Jason Walker Show. You mentioned tennis and taking a 6-week reprieve, and I mean, we're 2 months from the French Open getting started in Paris, and you know, Europe has been hit real hard by this virus, and if you know, are they going to be able to do a French Open, say, if there's no lead-up tournaments to it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. You know, so right now the tour is on hold essentially until a month before the French. And of course, they're going to be weighing the situation for much of the next few weeks to try to figure out, you know, again, no one knows. You look at Italy as kind of the prime example right now of people feel as though they acted a little too late in the sense of quarantines and shutting things down. And I think that's what we're feeling now in the States as I consume probably too much news about all of it. But yeah, you're right. You look at the French Open, you look at Wimbledon, the tours then come back to North America before the U.S. Open. I obviously mentioned the Tokyo Olympics. It's just going to have to be a wait and see, and it's going to have to be these organizers making the best, most prudent decisions. And again, you look at a tournament like Indian Wells, and a lot of people are asking, well, why didn't they just play the TV product? You know, you tell the 400,000 fans, don't come here. We're just going to play this for our TV rights holders, which, you know, would have saved the tournament millions of dollars, right? Because you look at it as an international broadcast product, but then you've got people from all over the world that are still coming together in the sense of coaches and agents and players and the personnel that staff these tournaments, and you're still at risk. Look what's happened with the Utah Jazz and the player that tested positive coronavirus there, and he obviously didn't mean it, but he perhaps spread the virus to a bunch of other people by touching recorders in jest. And so just all of the precaution, I think that, you know, you live in the media space, so do I, and I think that oftentimes it feels like we can, you know, hyperize the situation. We can make it feel like it's a bigger deal than it is. But I honestly, truly believe with this situation, the right steps are being taken by the NBA, by the tennis bodies. You know, you're seeing now the Broadway theater industry. I have good friends from Helena that are involved in that. Yep. That's been shut down now for a month. So I just feel like, you know, proceed with caution and too much caution. I don't think that is, I don't think too much is a phrase that we can use in this situation.
I think it's one of those deals where you look back in 20 years ago and, okay, we overreacted to something and instead of underreacted, and it took a tragic turn. Nick McCarville joining us here, Jason Walker Show, Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Okay, so before the French, there's a big clay tournament in Italy right before that, right? Isn't the Italian Open or something to that effect, right before that? Obviously, the whole country of Italy is on quarantine. When is that supposed to take place, and will it?
Yep. So the tennis tour essentially sort of switches gears in mid-April to go to Europe. So you've got big stops in Monte Carlo, Stuttgart, Germany, and then the two big lead-ups to the French Open, to the Grand Slam that's on clay, is Madrid the first week of May, and then Italy, Italian Open, middle of May. I just can't speak for any of the planners, right? I don't know if they're making a contingency plan already for the Italian Open. You know, do you move it to another big venue that might be able to host all the world's top players before Roland Garros? I'm not sure. You know, those facilities are few and far between, and everyone's kind of on a holding pattern. But I think what they're going to do is they're just going to monitor the situation. But you'd think with events that big, we're mid-March now, those are early mid-May. I think they've probably got to make a call within a few weeks of the event. You know, Indian Wells was all dressed up and ready to go. I watched them wheel off the flowers yesterday from center court as I was working at the media center with the tournament called off. So they don't want to get to that point, but in Italy or in Madrid. But yeah, I think that they're going to try to wait until as close as possible to make all those decisions so that they're not impacting the local economies as much. But you're right. I mean, Italy's on extreme lockdown. I mean, essentially it's banks and grocery stores are open there right now. But yeah, they're going to have to figure out what those timelines are. But kind of the next checking in point for the sport of tennis would be about a month from now when they'll probably make that May announcement.
You mentioned you're getting on a plane tomorrow and you travel all over the world. Is there any concern for you personally as you move forward and covering the sports world like you do?
I went to Australia. I was in Australia for the entire month of January and came back to New York in February and had a flu shot. I get a flu shot every September, October. And I got a bad case of the flu in New York. It knocked me sideways for almost a week. But I think that I'm younger, I'm healthy. I try to take care of my body physically, and then everyone in the sport of tennis, because we're so global, it's all about sleeping patterns and trying to take care of yourself as much as possible. And it's tough. And when we face a situation like this, it's like tomorrow I'll fly from Palm Springs via Seattle. Well, then it's like, Seattle's been hit so hard. But, so am I not meant to fly through SeaTac? I think you have to carry on with your everyday life as much as possible. And I think that, sure, you're going to take precautions. And I've got my antibacterial gel and you're washing your hands more than ever. But also, I really hope that we're not going to reach this point of hysteria where it feels like, everyone's hunkered down and rationing pasta and, wrestling for toilet paper in the aisles of Thriftway.
Well, why is toilet paper such a big rush? The coronavirus has nothing to do with toilet paper.
It's so funny. I think it's one of those items, right, that people just grab sort of out of habit. Well, I got all this other stuff, and we got to get toilet paper.
Sure. If you got canned chili, I guess,
What's the general feeling in the greater Helena community?
My wife Tori. She was at Costco yesterday. She was at Target and Costco again today. And there was like a 20-minute line this morning before Costco even opened outside to get in. Toilet paper is out. Paper towels are out. Hand sanitizer, hand lotion. It's hit Helena, and it's like I said earlier. It's an overreaction, I think, but. We got a 2-year-old almost, and it's like, well, she's going to need stuff. Tori and I can, we'll be fine, but she's going to need food. She's going to have to. So it's a different situation if you have kids and you look at it from that aspect.
Yeah, certainly. I have 2 siblings who are in the Helena area, and, they're worried about the kids. And, I have coworkers here with kids in Chicago and the Palm Springs area, and everyone's just taking those cautions. And again, I just don't feel like we can do too much, so you kind of find that balance between the hysteria and making sure that, you're not overreacting and that we're all taking care of ourselves. And I don't know. I mean, it's tough because I feel like a lot of us, within the Helena community and beyond, we feel like things happen for a reason. This right now feels a little extreme, but you just wonder if we look back 5 or 10 years from now and say, oh, this, coronavirus really made us X. Or that's polite Y, or the Z of the situation was. It's hard to see that in the moment, and so I think it's at least somewhat smart to try to look at it from that perspective too.
All right, let's switch gears real quick. I got to ask you because she's my all-time favorite tennis player, but the retirement of Maria Sharapova. Were you shocked?
No, we had been, that had been, so Maria Sharapova announced her a retirement a few weeks ago in an essay for Vanity Fair. I think, Jason, that was kind of a year or so coming. She's won 5 Grand Slams. She was world number 1. She was obviously a breakout star when she won Wimbledon at 17 in 2004. But, since she had her doping suspension in 2016, she came back and her body was breaking down. She had a few shoulder surgeries in her career. Her serve was never the same after her surgery, I think in 2009. And we just kind of watched her, I know Maria pretty well, and I just watched her struggle to take care of her body. She's 6'1". She plays a physical brand of tennis. And she was always a great fighter on the court, and she still had that fight and heart for much of the last couple of years. But it really was a tough scenario where I think she wanted to kind of go out with a splash of some sort of, dream run. I don't think anyone felt like she could win a slam again, but a dream run to the quarters or the semis of a major or something like that. She had a few big wins, from the spring of 2017 through to this last year when she came back. But the body was just breaking down, withdrawals and the struggle. And I saw one of her good friends yesterday here in Palm Springs, and she just said she's so much happier now that she gets to wake up and not worry about, taking care of her body and shoulder pain and shooting pain through her arms. And, Maria leaves tennis with kind of a not tarnished legacy, but she leaves the sport with some people sort of questioning her legacy because of that doping suspension. I will note that she, for much of the time that she took the supplement that she was ultimately banned for, it wasn't a banned substance.
Right.
Her only mistake was not checking the ban list in 2016. That doesn't excuse the behavior when that substance, meldonium, became banned in 2016. That said, great fighter, world number one, changed the face of women's tennis in a lot of ways, or helped continue the change of women's tennis. And for me personally, she was someone I always appreciated dealing with as a reporter. She was honest. She was well-spoken. She took a stance on issues, which we always, in the media, we appreciate when the players speak their minds. And, I think that she's going to be missed.
She definitely will. If you get a chance, I could talk to her. I get a Maria Sharapova something up here in the man cave. Maybe even a picture of you with her. That would be fun. Actually, I'd love to have her come into the studio. So next time you're home, bring her with you, and we'll bring her into the man cave.
The Maria exclusive was always something hard to chase. I was the USA Today tennis reporter for 2 years, and the USA Today continues to be one of the biggest newspapers in the world. I never got an exclusive with Maria in those 2 years.
Wow.
So best of luck for that.
Well, I appreciate it. Hey man, it's always a great time to talk to you. I haven't talked to you since Wimbledon. It would have been, I guess, 2014 or 2015. It's nice to be on the same, somewhat time zone this time as we talk.
Sure. I've got one more question before we wrap. So how are Montana sports locally and statewide handling all of this?
Well, so the NAIA canceled its national championships for the winter, which included Billings next week for the women's tournament. Big Sky Conference canceled its tournament in Boise. So the Montana State women get the championship. Here's the crazy thing. Montana high school state basketball tournaments, there's 8 of them that started yesterday and run through Saturday. No cancellations. They're allowing fans in. It's business as usual for Montana High School Association, which is really, really weird when you look at everybody else from the pros to Wyoming high school canceling stuff. So it's crazy when you think about, hey, we're just going to play basketball in Billings and Bozeman and Butte and Missoula, and it's nobody's business but our own.
Yeah, well, it's a tough call. I mean, you hope that the high school association doesn't look back and sort of regret those decisions, but also, it's maybe the one bright spot where you can say, hopefully, people are recognizing to wash their hands and take care of their health as much as possible when they do gather in those bigger crowds. But those basketball teams get to finish out their season the way that they'd want to.
Yeah, definitely. My final question for you is, everybody's, the last month, wash your hands. What did people do before coronavirus?
I have to say, from personal experience, I'm pretty good at washing my hands, but I've washed my hands more in the last, week or 10 days. Sure. The average has definitely gone up.
Hey, man, I appreciate the time. I know you're a busy guy and you got to get going, but thanks for joining us. You're welcome on the show anytime. And we still need to meet up when you're in Helena sometime. I golf with the folks. I see them all the time, but I don't ever get to see you.
Can't wait. Thanks, Jason.
That is Nick McCarville, former Capital standout, and does great work covering Olympic sports. And, man, it's great to get a national perspective from other sports other than basketball because everything's been canceled. But we appreciate Nick joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Speaking of golf, make sure you get out to Green Meadow Country Club. I know there's snow on the ground right now and melting, but there's going to be more this weekend. It's going to go away, folks, I promise. Go out to Green Meadow Country Club. Tell them you heard or saw it on the Jason Walker Show. Get signed up, and we can golf together, okay? You and I, or the families, whatever. We can hang out. It'll be a great time. Green Meadow Country Club, it's not snobbish. It's not elite. It's everyday people like you and I. Get out there. Tell them you saw it on the Jason Walker Show, and get signed up for the upcoming year. It's definitely, it's where memories are made with the family. So there you go. All right, let's do On This Day in History, and that is brought to you by the Motherlode Sports Bar, Casino, and Restaurant. Think about this. Sports betting went live in Montana on Monday. What are you going to bet on now? There's no, you got NASCAR this weekend. They're going to run in NASCAR in Atlanta. Nobody in the stands. Just nobody. NASCAR's probably going to end up canceling. I don't see how they continue. But on this date in history, brought to you by the Motherlode, Gordie Howe retired in 1972 after 26 seasons. 1985, Larry Bird scored a then Boston Celtic record, 60 points. Happy birthdays today. 1950, Timmy from Lassie was born. John Provost. Dale Murphy, the Atlanta Braves, two-time NL MVP, born in Portland on this date, 1956. And no, he should not be in the Hall of Fame. 1962, Darryl Strawberry was born. And 1987, Woody Hayes passed away, the Ohio State football coach. And so there you go. I know we're, past 5, but we did it last night. We're going to do it again tonight. And really, we're going to have to keep an eye on our time moving forward because we're going to get a new affiliate, which is going to be awesome, coming soon. So more places to listen, okay, and watch. It's going to be fantastic. Let's see. What else? Oh, did I wanted to make sure I hit everything. So Governor Bullock issued a state of emergency about a half hour ago. Okay? State of Montana. But there's no confirmed cases. Or is there? Working on confirmation. I'm told in the state of Montana there is a confirmed case. I am working on that to confirm that. Person is in quarantine. Apparently it is a 4-part test, and this person is tested positive for 2 of the 4, waiting for the other 2. So with the state of emergency declared, does that mean MHSA will finally do the right thing and cancel the state basketball tournaments? Look, I get it. I love basketball. I love this time of year. MHSA has to do the right thing now, right? You got the governor involved. He issued a state of emergency with no confirmed cases. It's asinine that this is still happening, that they're still playing basketball right now in Missoula, Bozeman, Butte, and Billings. The governors issued a state of emergency. They issued a state of emergency in Kansas City. The city of Kansas City, mayor ordered and he's a great guy, ordered a state of emergency today. So, and obviously everything else got canceled. Montana now under a state of emergency with no confirmed cases. Cancel the damn basketball tournaments. You're putting people at risk. All right, I digress. Wanted to throw that out there. What else did I see today? Oh, how about this? This is why, okay? This is why. You cancel the tournaments now. They shouldn't have even have started yesterday or today. Here's why. The Colonial Athletic Association has been made aware that a game official who worked at the 2020 CAA Men's Basketball Championship has tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, this was in Virginia. The official did not exhibit symptoms of the virus until 72 hours after the game he worked. But obviously, out of an abundance of caution, the conference has made the involved institutions and tournament personnel aware of the situation so they can take proper precautionary measures. This happened in Virginia. An official, a basketball official, has tested positive for coronavirus. He worked the game. And yet, here in Montana, screw it. Let's just play some basketball. We're now under a state of emergency in the state of Montana. But basketball games have just tipped off even more. Billings West girls and Glacier just got underway in Bozeman. Will they play tomorrow? Do the right thing. Cancel the damn tournaments. Come on. All right, let's wrap this up. I could talk about this forever, and we could keep going on the Jason Walker Show here. I mean, if you want to, let me know. Let's just roll it. Why not? Wow. Okay, Jason Walker Show sponsored in part by. I get fired up sometimes, especially with just idiotic decisions. Jason Walker Show is brought to you in part by Manscaped. And I want to tell you, you need to do this. Speaking of doing the right thing, get Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, enter the code WALKER20, get 20% off and free shipping. Get the Lawnmower 3.0. It is amazing, okay? Improved skin-safe technology, quiet stroke technology, 7,000 RPM motor, LED light, which illuminates grooming areas. To give you a better shave. More precise. Battery will last up to 90 minutes. Get 20% off free shipping. Use the code WALKER20 at manscaped.com. That is WALKER20 at manscaped.com. And, man, now I'm really fired up. Had the state of emergency been declared before we came on the air at 4 o'clock? Wow. We're just going to keep going, though. No, we won't. We'll go ahead and wrap things up. Special thanks to NAIA President Jim Carr for joining us. UM Western women's coach Lindsay Woolley joined us, and the defending champs will not get a chance to defend their title. Nick McCarville, that was a great perspective from a national writer who does unbelievable work with the Olympic sports of figure skating and, of course, tennis. Are we going to have no French Open? Are we going to have Wimbledon? Are we going to have the Tokyo Olympics? That's on the world stage. Locally, where do we go? Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk with Mike Safford. He is the athletic director. No, he's not. He's a sports information director at the College of Idaho. College of Idaho men ranked number 1 in the country. Had a great chance to win the D2 NAI National Championship. And, of course, they won't get a chance now because it was canceled along with everything else. We're going to talk to Mike Safford tomorrow. Also, Wes Keller, the Rocky coach, will join us. Rocky women's coach. They were a 7 seed getting set to play at home next week, and now they're done. We'll get his perspective as well. Hope you had a great Thursday. And again, follow along on Twitter at JWalkerSports. We'll keep you informed. You can tweet us, Facebook us. Go to jasonwalkershow.com at any time and rewatch this if you missed anything and want to hear it again, or missed it and want to catch it for the first time. jasonwalkershow.com. Appreciate everybody for joining us. It's not going to stop. Keep an eye on it. Does MHSA finally cancel now that we have a state of emergency declared by Governor Steve Bullock? My guess? Probably not. We'll see you tomorrow. Have yourself a terrific Thursday. We'll do it again Friday the 13th. What a crazy week. We had a full moon, too, this week. See you tomorrow, Jason Walker Show. Have yourself a fantastic Thursday.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.